What's cracking?
Doc K, 818, El Pinche Paco, Lali, the homie Zubs. It's cracking.
We are live and direct. In effect, Katt Williams went off on the Mexicans, tried to cause a wreck, right? Or was it his fault? That's what everyone's talking about. But the Guru Dubs went into the archives and seen that video is from the archives.
Yeah, no. As soon as I saw that everybody was pushing that. Look, Katt Wlliams wasn't right for going off, right? But this is an old video. This didn't just happen. This is something. This is what I've been talking about on my smallest channel when I say people are going to stir the pot. They're trying to create hatred where, yeah, be upset, but be upset. What was it, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah, that's when that video happened.
Yeah, it was not from this year whatsoever. But they know tensions are high, emotions are high because of this stuff right now.
So what someone did is they went back and they found that video of Katt Williams going off on what you consider when you're a comedian, stand-up comedy, a heckler, someone who was heckling them, and they got into a debate about California or the southern part of the United States being Mexico, which we all know at one point it was.
That guy was from Phoenix.
Yes, he was from Phoenix, Arizona, and so Katt Williams decided to let him know that if he didn't like it here, to keep it pushing, right? At the end of the day, I mean, both of them were right and both of them were wrong. Katt Williams went a little too hard in the paint, but that dude, he's one of those guys you do not want to go at, because Katt Williams, he'll hit you upside the head with the one-liners. Was it cool to do all that, put the guy in blast? No, but you only see a part of the video. You don't see exactly what the guy was saying before,
Well, I've seen the video.
You've seen the whole video?
Yeah.
So what did he say?
A while back. I don't remember. It was something along the lines of what you said, but I don't know. If I would have been in the audience, I would have been pissed.
Me too. Yeah.
I would have been upset. But my thing is, I want to keep things in perspective. Was what he was saying cool? It doesn't feel cool. But for people to try to use it now, so what was the purpose in this? Was it to create animosity between black and brown?
Yeah, absolutely. That's whoever put it out there.
That's what I don't get is, like, why now? Like, raza, go and march in the streets when it happened, but don't be puppets, man. Don't let people show you something that's old and get you all riled up now.
Yeah. And that's what it is. People are taking old sound bites, old clips, and because right now that's like a major topic, the deportations and Mexicans are in the limelight right now, So people would take that, but all that does is stir controversy. Now there's a whole bunch of Katt Williams supporters that were Mexicanos. There's a lot of Mexicans that like Katt Williams. Now they're not going to like him anymore because someone found an old clip of him, bro, when this shit was not even relevant. He was just talking shit. Again, man,
what's up, Taz?
It's a two-edged sword. There's going to be a lot of people that support Katt, like, yeah, what he said was true, and there's a lot of people like, damn, but he went hard on the paint and disrespected that dude. I've seen Katt give a lot of Mexicans love, and I've seen him go hard on the paint on everyone. So,
and I seen him get beat up by a 14-year-old for running his mouth.
And I seen him walking downtown buying a burrito. So, true story, from a taco truck. So,
yeah. No, I don't think he's racist. I think someone said something to talk shit and ruin his show or get under his skin, and he said whatever. There's some people that are like that. If you say something to them, they automatically go to the thing that you're gonna dislike the most. Like, what's up? Why?
Yeah. What I know about Katt Williams for sure is this, and just like every other comedian, they're not necessarily racist. I mean, some people are. You don't know who is behind the scenes, right? But they use stereotypes in their comedy. I do it.
Yes.
All the time. With my primo fucking Pepe, you use stereotypes, but it's not coming from a racial point. It's just funny because people could identify and they understand. That video right there was a little too patriotic for me. He went a little bringing the ego and everything. He used props.
Look at before this whole woke bullshit and cancel culture, comedy was used to make people think, maybe in a provocative way, right?
Yeah.
But it was legal. Richard Pryor did a lot of that shit. Eddie Murphy did a lot of that shit. then they shut down. They try to completely destroy Dave Chappelle for doing that. You know?
Yeah. No, yeah. Like I said, comedians since Richard Pryor and even before him have always used stereotypes, and usually they use them with their own people. I think you know who was good for that was George Lopez. George Lopez did that a lot. You know, talking about his tios and his tias and everything. I do the same thing, but when it comes to once you start crossing the line and talking about other ethnicities, that's when people have a problem. All of a sudden, they're laughing at your jokes when it's about you and your people, but once you start talking about theirs, whoa, it's the same shit.
I'll say this. There was a guy, and he was on BET, Black Entertainment Television. They used to do comic, right? We used to watch it in the Bay. And he was a Mexicano, and he, you know, was always on there. The same guys. I remember Kevin Hart way back then was on there in the 90s. But I remember this dude said, let me tell you the difference between a Mexican and a wetback. I was pissed.
I would have been too.
Do that in front of a group of Mexicans, maybe. But when you go in front of other races and you're making a fucking fool out of yourself by putting your own people down. That's that fucking buffoonery bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah. To me, that's not. It's not funny at all when people like do that. Like, who are you trying to impress, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what we had here with Katt, man. I think it was someone didn't like a joke or whatever the fuck, and they said something, and then they got lit up after that, you know. And then what? That's why when you open your mouth, be prepared to follow through, right? He opened his mouth. He was one row away from the stage, and Katt was
that mad. Get off where you're mad at.
He was roasting him.
Hey, the one thing about Katt Wlliams, and this is a fact, he'll just keep on going and going and going and going. Then he makes the whole show about you. He'll give you a 15-minute segment of getting roasted. He's a hard individual to clap back on. You see what he did to that one chick that one time when she talked shit about him. He started roasting everything about her. You know,
funny.
Never seen
her jewelry, her hair, her weight, everything.
He talked about you can get her hair with a free car wash and all kinds of shit. Yeah, he's different. He's a different individual, and that's just him. But again, man, you can't in one breath in 1 year say, hey, Katt Wlliams is the truth. He's telling the truth. He exposed everyone. He talked all this. And then the next minute, if he's going to tell the truth or tell his truth, he's going to tell about everything. And he probably felt he was being heckled. He was being interrupted. Yeah. And so he just roasted that dude. And I think that would have happened even if that dude was black, white, it doesn't matter with Katt. He's going to go. He's an equal opportunist. He'll go off on anybody.
Yeah. For those of you just getting in here right now, we already said that. Thank you for those in the chat, but we already said that this is old news. This is people playing other people's emotions because of what's going on right now with ICE and all this and this and that. This is let's get people to be mad at other people rather than ICE. And you know what I mean? And I don't know. It's just, you know.
Yes.
Gunner brought it up to me. Gunner had just saw it briefly. And he's like, hey man, you know, Katt did this. And I was like, homie, that's old, you know, and it's very old. Kiko says, why doesn't your channel show me you're on live, Gunner? I got the notification. Yeah, I got the notification 8 minutes ago.
You know, here's my whole trip with this thing.
Both channels.
Could this be a situation where because of all the exposing and all the you know, the big controversy with Katt Wlliams last year on Shay Shay, right? Could this be someone who dug up this whole thing and was like, we're going to utilize this perfect opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. We're going to divert attention or you know, from what's going on here. And instead of they not focusing on ICE, focus on this guy. And we're going to kill two birds with one stone. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get him back. We're going to clap back on Katt because this shit came back out of nowhere. An old video that people are now talking about. We're talking about it.
What's up, Michael Lucero? No, I think it's people. I think it's people trying to create shit between black and brown on this one. I mean, that's my opinion personally, and that's why I said as soon as I saw it, I was like, that shit's old, Holmes. And that's a comedian. Like, why is somebody gonna hate? You know, why would that's just stupid. You know,
I agree. Israel, a perfect example of divide and conquer. You know, let's pit the Mexicans and blacks against each other, and it's something that happens all the time. It's like every month there's a new black and brown issue. You notice that?
Yeah.
The issue with the guys crossing out Kendrick Lamar's mural. Before that, Nipsey Hussle's mural. I mean, there's always something. It's always a black and brown issue. It even went to the point with that, Dubs, we both made videos about it, where there was someone out there saying that the Mexican barrio from Compton had all blacks on green lights, and that was untrue, and that these 4 women got hit and killed, and that was untrue, you know?
Yeah. No, a Carlo did get hit, but it was by blacks. It wasn't by
but they blamed that particular barrio and had nothing to do with them.
And a lot of times it's not even the people in those communities, It's people outside of those communities trying to create strife within those communities.
I agree. Yeah, it comes from the outside in, and immediately they know the temperament of both black and brown, quick to jump, quick to start, automatically take up arms. And, I seen, and we both talked about this a few years ago. There was actually a content creator that I call him the lip licker, right? Who's no longer around. And he was feeling himself, man, at one point, and he was trying to get the raza involved in a straight race war,
Yeah, against Spider-Loc, and I made a video. I made a video about that because I didn't like his terminology when he was saying to Spider-Loc, "My people." This, like, who are you, fool?
Yeah,
you're not gonna be on no front line, so don't involve yourself in no street shit. And I've never had nothing against him, still don't. But you see, in the long run, like, he definitely wasn't gonna be on front line. Thank you, Michael.
I absolutely agree, Michael. It's been like that, man. The thing is, there's not a lot of people notice that, but those that are strong-minded and educated know exactly what the agenda is, right? Yeah, with that, when that happened, Dubs, it was crazy because my thing with the whole thing was that guy was making the situation much worse. Was between 2 men, and he involved a lot of people. And the thing was, he was speaking for a people that he doesn't speak for,
Exactly.
So I was like, damn, bro.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. Like when people judge, like, say, Whack 100 or even Charleston White, they don't speak for all the brothers. They speak for themselves.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And Charleston White. I mean, and look here's the thing. This is what people don't get. An Eastside player, listen up. So when people say something, I actually listen. I don't care who the messenger is. If it makes sense, I mean, you got to at least acknowledge, like, hey, that makes a little sense. I don't agree with Charleston White's delivery. I know what he's doing, though. He's trolling. But I talked to you about this, where he said when he had dreads and you wore a suit and tie, absolutely nobody was listening to him. And he paid attention, and he saw, who are all these kids looking up to? Rappers. And what are the rappers in his eyes? He said they're caricatures. They made up a whole persona of shit they're not doing, and they're influencing the kids. So he said he wanted to influence the kids. So what he did is he made up a character. Do I like the way he delivers his message? No. But does he sometimes deliver a true message? He does.
You know? As much as there's some things I don't like, he said, I hate. Go ahead.
And that's the thing that I always tell the people, where, look, Holmes, if you're gonna go into something and your mind is already made up, why even go in there? Right? Why even engage? If your mind is already made up, that's a clear sign of ignorance right there. There's no reason for you to even be involved in a debate.
Yeah. What happened to the old times of a peaceful debate and getting your point across and agreeing to disagree? Nowadays, you have to play a character and scream and yell to get your point across, and no one respects a man for just speaking, man. They want a character to speak. It's crazy, but it was a trip how Charleston White was able to adapt to that. And I think there's a lot of people that do the same exact thing, like Whack 100 and certain people, man. Thank you, Junior, that do the exact same thing. So we just wanted, we wanted to take this topic up because I see a lot of people making videos about it. And Dubs hit me to the skip and said, hey, this is something old, bro. And this is basically an agenda to either pit black versus brown, to shift the attention away from what's going on, or, just to someone seen, hey, with everything that's going on right now, hey, here's a perfect clip that is relevant now, or they try to make it relevant now. And now everybody's chiming in on it. But it happens like that on social media. People would take an old video and it's more relevant in the times now, and they'll utilize it. And people would think it just happened. It didn't happen. Thank you, Ask a Bum, and thank you, Mora.
Thank you, guys. Ye boy asked, Dubs, do you consider all Latinos raza? I do. I was of the opinion, as a lot of Mexicans are, especially when I was younger. I was of the opinion where if you're saying raza, it means Mexicans only, right?
Yeah.
But if I look at it, what are the options that we have? Latino, I don't like that word. An Italian, a Portuguese, a French, a Spaniard, those are all Latinos if you really break it down, right? So I don't like that. Hispanic, I've never liked that word. One of the old definitions of it was of or belonging to Spain. We don't do that. So what is an alternative that we all recognize? It is raza. I accept it. And another thing, the word Hispanic, a lot of people don't know this, but it was actually pushed by Cubans. Cubans were very politically active in Cuba. They came here to get away from Castro, and when they got here, they were either not white enough for whites or not black enough for blacks, and so they needed a place to fit in the political realm in the United States. And what was one way they could do that and have huge numbers? The Spanish language. And so when you saw Univision and Telemundo and all them really, really, really pushing that word, it was the Cubans that run that stuff that were doing it. And I tip my hat to them. They're very politically savvy. But that's where that word comes from. So for me, long ass answer, I know, but I prefer calling all of us raza. And for those that like to say, like with Lefty Gunplay, for an example, they say, well, he's not even Mexican. His family maybe is Chapines or whatever. And I say this, you're basically saying, let's only go by the European blood and let's ignore the indigenous blood. We all have the same indigenous blood. That's the one thing that unites us, because every one of us is mixed. Some of us have Spanish, some of us have Portuguese, some of us have Irish, some of us have a mixture of that along with our indigenous blood. So the one thing that we do have in common is our indigenous blood.
Yeah, that's the truth. They'll just spend some knowledge you can't get in college, or you could get in college if you went and you took the right studies. I want to answer a couple of these questions. I see a couple of people in here, man. We got over 630 in the building, man. And I figured this topic right here would raise some eyebrows, and you could smell what the Rock was cooking, right? And here's a thing, man. We cannot allow anybody, no matter who it is, to divide us as a people into believing, man, that we're hated by someone else, man. Hey, we as an ethnicity, I believe, do more damage to ourselves than anyone else. So before we could start focusing on what other people are saying about us, we need to focus on fixing ourselves first as brown people, white people, black people. It doesn't matter. Humans are humans, man. We need to fix ourselves before we could worry about what Katt Wlliams is saying, right? I think it was taken way out of proportion. I think it was taken way out of perspective. And I believe Katt Wlliams was just basically going at it one-on-one with the guy. Didn't mean it towards all Mexicans, but meant it towards that one guy. Like, if you don't like it, get the fuck on, stupid. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Personally,
ask the bum. I don't know anything about whatever Chuck D was doing. I know he was for his people. I know that, but I don't know anything about his ideology.
My thing is, there's nothing wrong with being pro your people. It's when you start disrespecting others is that I have an issue. You know, if I see a guy walking down the street with white pride on his shirt, I don't think he's a racist. I think he's just proud of being white. You know, you see brown pride, I think he's just proud of being brown. You know, it's people take things out of context, man, especially when it comes to the woods. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you see a guy walking down the street with white pride, people automatically assume he's a racist, right? And that's furthest from the truth. I've met guys that got black old ladies, man, that aren't even tripping like that, but they're proud of what they are and their heritage. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you're going to be proud of your heritage, I implore you to discover and educate yourself on where you come from and your heritage, rather than spitting out ideology that was taught to you.
So I see a couple people in here saying that we're all part of the human race and all this and that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think it is very important for I think it is very important for people that descend from black, well, I'm going to say from certain areas that created beautiful civilizations. I'm going to speak for the indigenous people of the Americas. The mathematical system that they created, the pyramids that they created, the astrology, like all the stuff that they created is gorgeous, is beautiful. They created a beautiful society, right? And I think it's important for people for kids to be taught that they came from that, rather than allow them to see these movies and see cholos and see dudes smack back and nodding out and gang banging and killing and stuff like that. Let's have both, you know. A lot of the greatness of our ancestry is not pushed out there. So I say that for, you know, all peoples, you know. I don't like you said, if somebody has white pride on them, I don't look at it like, oh fuck, that Vato's a racist. I don't. Like, cool. Because one thing I will say for the whites in this country over the last 20 years, the machine has been pushing white guilt on them, making they want them to feel guilty about being white. That is a trip. That is a trip. Chicano style bikers, what's up, homeboy? Hope
hey, shout out to the homeboy Chicano style bikers. My prayers are with you every day, my brother. What's happening? Here's something else I wanted to talk about, Dubs. Okay, when it comes to Katt Wlliams, if you don't like it here, get the fuck on, basically, is what he said, right? Mm-hmm. But in the same token, I've seen a video where Katt Wlliams said, you know, my people were brought here against their will. This is not our country. We were brought here against our will. This is not our land. I've seen him say that before. Mm-hmm. So to me, it was like when he's saying, if you don't like it, get out of here. Well, basically, you said you don't like it either, bro. You were brought against your will. Your people were brought against you. Here's my thing. Everyone needs to stop talking about what happened with their people and what happened with them, right? You were not brought against your will. Start talking about yourself. You're experiencing and enjoying the freedoms and the liberties of the United States and everything that's good and bad about it. But when you always talk in the past tense, well, my people this, my people that, we once, this Mexico was ours, this was we're talking about what it is now. You know, that's what I believe in. Like, I understand the history, and I'm involved, man. I love the history of, you know, of my culture and everybody's culture.
I want to point this guy out here. C. Arredondo says, fools trying to sound educated. This is an ignorant idiot right here. These are those guys, like when you have a debate, right? And like in the joint, you know, you be having a discussion and somebody say, this Vato thinks he knows everything. And I would tell him, would you feel better if I sound stupid?
Yeah.
Do you feel stupid by the education that I have? You know what I mean? Like, so you shot this, see, Arredondo, you got your shine, homeboy. My bad that I'm not dumb, homie, and I can have a conversation with anyone at any level.
Yeah. Palmetto says something. Living in the South, the most racism I've experienced has been from the black community. White folks down here can be racist too, but in my experience, it's been the blacks being racist here. And it goes all ways, man. It goes all ways. There's racism in every ethnicity, man. I grew up with a grandfather that didn't care for blacks nor whites. He had his own opinion on it. I grew up with blacks that hated Mexicans or white, and I grew up with the whites that felt the same way. It's all about, you know, to me, it's about figuring out our own shit and getting our own shit together before we could have a harsh or critique and having a harsh opinion or critique another ethnicity, man. If you don't know or not educated where you come from or about your people, how the fuck can you talk about others? You don't even know about your own people. You know, every different ethnicity in this country and around the world hurt their own more than anyone else does. And that's the goddamn truth. That's the facts right there. Thank you, Arnold. We appreciate you. How do y'all feel about the other cultures running with raza in the pen? For example,
that's normal. That's normal. They did it on the streets. You know, there's a lot of people from different ethnicities that are from barrios, eh? They grow up there, and it's like I said the other day. To me, there's a difference between a gang and a barrio. You grow up in the barrio, you're part of that. You know, like
part of that culture.
Yeah.
It's the culture, man. That's why you have a lot of blacks, like say in Southern California, man. They love the taco truck. They love the low riders. They love that culture because they're around it. Just like you have a lot of Mexicans in the Bay Area in places like Oakland and Richmond, the East Bay, that a lot of people say, oh, they're trying to act black. No, that's the culture there. That's what they see around them. That's how they grew up. So they're going to embrace the culture around them. Doesn't mean that they're not still Mexican or brown and that they're trying to be something they're not. It just means everyone ain't giving a shit over there. They're all showing each other love. And it's a lot like that. That's how now there are some in Southern California specifically, man, some in the past and even now, you know, some discrepancies between two ethnicities. But that's just because you got two ethnicities that come from warrior blood. You know, they come from being about proud of being there, about their culture and their people. That's what I think, especially in the culture of gangbanging, Dubs. You know, everybody wants to be number one. Their barrio, their hood, period. So that right there leaks out into the community. Thank you, the homie Zubs.
Hey, gracias. Jay, the music enthusiast, says, in Cali, I seen some barrios that are racist though on both sides, black and brown. And that's unfortunate, but there's more that get labeled that actually, when you look at them, they might beef with some Bloods, but they're cool with Crips, or they might beef with some Crips, but they're cool with Bloods. And for some reason, they don't accept that as that's gangbanging. They want to make it racist, but they're cool with the other hood. They funk with one hood, but they're cool with another hood. You know.
You know what's crazy in the state of California specifically, and I can't speak for everywhere else, but I could say a lot of the stuff varies from city to city. I've been in some cities where it's like, man, Mexicans and blacks do not fuck with each other at all. Then I've been in some cities where this is just a big old sideshow, right? And then it just varies from city to city, valley to the Bay to Southern California. It just depends. You could be in LA and South Central where there's a lot of black and brown, coalitions, a lot of things going on together. And then you could be in the Valle where it's not.
Go ahead, how did dinero? Go ahead. We're not tripping. And by the way, shout out to Puerto Rico. Somebody was in here. Shout out from Puerto Rico. No, somebody asked if they could post a link to their channel. That's fine. I don't care.
We have no problem with that. What's up, YG 1800? And we got 750 in the building, man. We appreciate you guys. And like I said, man, I figured this would be a hot topic, and we're kind of could go anywhere with it. And we're not here to push division, individualism, favoritism, none of that. I just think when it goes back to the Katt Wlliams, what we're originally talking about, it was something that happened years ago that someone decided it was relevant in these times, and it's just a division tactic. That's all I see it as, nothing more. You know, Katt Wlliams, he's gonna say what he says, man. It doesn't make him. Hey, and that guy, man, that guy got put on blast. That guy got Huevo all over his face and sat his ass down and enjoyed the rest of the show.
Yeah,
you got clown. You know, you got clown, and the thing is, you know, that's why when you say something, you got to stand your ground on it, man, because you never know. You can be going against a smart giant, and in this case, man, he went against Katt Wlliams, who his fucking vernacular is spectacular. He knows how to just eat you up, and that's all that was. Yes, Tom. Absolutely. Would you blame the biased media for pushing this separation?
Absolutely.
For a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a machine, you know?
Yeah. I believe that the mainstream media pushes two agendas, man. Division.
And I know I've never been in New Corcoran. What happened?
Division, and another thing I've been in New Corcoran. Division, and another thing that they push is fear mongering. That's two things I see that they push, you know. And it's weird. They could steer the direction of the people, whichever way they want them, whatever they want them to talk about, they steer them. Dubs. Like for what wasn't it last month? We were all talking about these fucking clones, or not the clones, but the drones.
Yeah,
the drones everywhere. What happened to them? Why isn't no one talking about them anymore? Because they're not talking about them. A few years ago, everybody could all the time about COVID. Thank you, Caesar. And now it's no one talks about certain things. So media, social media definitely has an influence. You know, it's just like what we're talking about here. This one little clip of Katt Wlliams going off, and it could have been on anyone 3 years ago, whatever, now is relevant today, and everyone's talking about it like it just happened last week.
Yes. You know? And it's shit's years old. Like you can look at it and you know how it's kind of like one of those things you can look in the audience and tell by what they're wearing. I didn't see no Edgars in that video.
Which is
that
crazy.
Definitely it was not like anybody that was trying to push it like this is something that just happened. Like, come on.
And one thing I will give Katt the nod of like, damn, he did that, was he was actually in a very raza heavy crowd in Phoenix. You know, Phoenix, Arizona, there's a lot of brown people there, and he still was doing his thing. That's the perfect example of Katt Wlliams just putting on his show. That's it. He was just going as he went. He went and grabbed the statue, threw that motherfucker there, the bald eagle, and started singing the national anthem, right? People were laughing, and a lot of those people that I seen laughing in that crowd were brown. I'll say that. So I didn't take it.
Most of the well, at least half of the audience was brown. So Skip, DeGraff says Katt. Oh no, not him. Hold on, who was it? My bad. Skip. Skur 26 LB. So since it was years ago, it was okay. What did Katt say? He told the guy, if you don't like being in America, go back to your country.
Yeah.
That's when you boil it down, that's what he said. And who said, regardless of what any individual thinks, who said that it's okay if it's old or new? What we're talking about is it is being applied here because the emotions are high in order to get people to focus on another group of people.
Thank you, Caesar.
It's a play. That's what we're talking about. Thank you, Des.
Says, why do you guys say brown Latinos come in all colors? I'm because Samuel, I'm not trying to get super fucking technical here, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna fucking hold a fucking certain thing to you and measure how brown and how light you are. I'm a very light-skinned brown man, right? Brown is just another way of saying raza to me. You know, even blacks are browns, you know, in a different shade. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh man, he's a lighter shade of brown. It's not that technical, my brother. Damn. You know, people, there's every little thing that you say, it's why does he got to be brown? I don't know, because he's fucking not black. You know, I don't know. I don't see color. I see fucking people.
And that's what people think. People are bullshitting. Like, I fuck with people that are good people. I don't care what your ethnicity is. If you're a good dude, I can fuck with you. You know what I mean? You got a good heart, I can fuck with you. I don't fuck with snakes, liars. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I draw the line. I have different reasons to not fuck with someone other than the color of their skin.
This guy has a great question, man, and it can be answered easily. Since when did a raza start getting offended? We used to shrug it off and laugh it off. Now I did
a video about that. I did a video about that on my Dub S World channel. And I said something, and I'll say it again here. It's a bit controversial, but it's the truth. When BLM started, how many Mexicans were saying, what the fuck are they crying over? So why are your asses in the streets now crying?
Exactly.
We say we don't do that. And when someone else does it, people are like, oh, right, check these crybabies out. But now you're crying. And none of you that are in the streets crying right now are going to get deported. Instead, you're making a big old scene. And your tios and tias and mom and dad that are here and in trouble, they're the ones that are fucking ripping their hair out of their head. Like, why are you pissing the cops off?
Yeah, shut the fuck up already before we get caught up, before they focus on us. Well, here's my thing too with that, Dubs, right? You can look at it from a positive way too. You could say that nowadays, everybody's wanting their voice to be heard. Right now, people are saying, you know what? We're tired of all the fucking bullshit. Now we're fucking the raza. We're going to come together and speak our voice. It's too little, too late.
Not only that, I would ask if somebody tells me that if I'm having a conversation with somebody and they say that, I'm going to say over what? You're tired of what? You're an American citizen. What are you tired of?
Exactly.
Like, I need to understand. Stop talking in the third person. You know what I mean? Stop talking for that guy over there that you don't even send money. He's your family in Mexico. You ain't sent him a dime, and you're 40 fucking years old and never sent him a penny. Now all of a sudden you're concerned.
I'll tell you, nowadays, a lot of these protests and a lot of these marches and a lot of these things, people utilize it as a reason just to go out there and fuck around.
That's all it is.
It's something to do.
They have that, and we have that fucking stereotype. Fucking Mexicans will find any reason to drink a beer and party. And that's what the fuck these so-called protests turn into. We don't have, I said it in my video, we do not have these protests. It would be different if we had educated, eloquent people getting in front of a fucking camera and saying, hey, these are the things that we're we don't like about this. You know, and even though we're American citizens, this is our family, this and that. But I saw a thing from a dude saying, if the raza want to be mad at anybody, they need to be mad at the Mexican government for having the people of Mexico live the way they live and function under a system, a political system that they function under, that they feel like they have to come over here.
Hey, Chicano Style Bikers, you absolutely can post whatever link you want, brother. Absolutely. Here's my thing too, Dubs. You know, you get some intelligent raza up there, educated people that know what the fuck they're talking about. Put them behind a podium, maybe even, you know, on some type of podcast, but out there and spit some knowledge and speak facts and express to the government why they are upset and what they believe could be some alternatives, rather than burning flags and doing donuts and sideshowing. You know what I mean?
I hear you, but for me, I don't agree. Part of that, this is what I say. Let's get some educated, intelligent raza to get in politics and become immigration lawyers. Like, get in there to where you can affect the change.
Yeah.
Debating on a podium is not going to affect change, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you get into politics and you're able to get in a position where you're on a committee that may be able to streamline the process of people coming across legally, that's how we get shit done. Having a debate isn't going to get it done. We need to understand that we need to become a part of it. Stop voting for people who didn't grow up like you, don't look like you, don't have a similar type of last name, and thinking that guy has your best interest at heart. You have your own best interest at heart. If you're really moved by it, get involved in politics and try to affect the change yourself.
I agree, man. And again, man, we're here not trying to downgrade the progress of the raza and what they're trying to do. We're saying if you're going to do it educated and do it smooth and positive, man. You know, it makes the people look like what they're striving for. It makes it look like it's a debacle when you're out there sideshowing and burning flags and you're doing everything that they say you're doing. You're just giving them more ammunition to throw at you. If you go out there educated and speak from your mind, people will listen. You know, it's just like with me and Dubs here, man. That's why I sit back and I listen when he's spitting his education, because I know he knows what the fuck he's talking about, right? And it makes me want to listen and educate myself. I think we all strive for education, right? And if there's someone speaking that's well-versed in the culture and well-versed in knowing what time it is, we all sit back and listen. It becomes very interesting. That's why we have 800 people in here. You know, if I'm out here acting a fool and burning flags and doing shit, no one's going to want to tune. They might tune in for a minute because of the drama, but after a while, it's like, hey, bro, what the fuck are you doing? You're making us look stupid and you're making us look bad. So that's how I feel, man. I believe these protests and all this, I understand the meaning behind it. I don't necessarily agree with everything that they're doing, though. That's just me, you know. But we got 800 people in here, man. Hey, the homeboy Muerte from 22nd and Bryant. That's right, bro. You know that story is true, man, because you're one of the ones that looked out. The fact is this, man. We just wanted to do this live to let you guys know that everybody's doing these videos all of a sudden about Katt Wlliams and all this, and that's an old video, man. And we don't want people to turn their back on Katt and think that he's some big racist and that he hates brown people, because that's furthest from the truth, man. You know, in fact, he's one of the black comedians that I've seen that has showed the Mexicans a lot of support and a lot of love. You know, so but it's relevant to the times right now. People can take things and twist them. Right now, anything that anyone has ever said bad about a Mexican, they're throwing it out there. Or, you know, bad about a black. It's division. Plain and simple. 750 in the building, man. We appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. Let me see. Is it okay to vote for people that don't look like you? Vote for the person that honestly has the morality and your views. Oh, I don't care what the person looks like as long as they got the right agenda.
Yeah, I don't either.
Doesn't matter what color they are, none of that.
When I just said what I said, I wasn't saying, look at here. So I've always believed this. The best way to fuck a Mexican over is to give another Mexican a badge. Excuse me. I've heard the Italians say the same thing. I think a lot of us feel that way, you know, because, and it's not, I have an uncle. He passed away now. He used to be a cop, you know, and so it doesn't apply to everyone, but I've seen it, you know. And so when I said, if you want to affect change for your people, then run for office and try to get in. That doesn't mean that all of your people are going to see you for what you want to be. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying I will ever vote for someone just because they look like me. There has to be substance to it.
Here's the crazy thing, Dubs. Like, I have a primo, man, that's into politics, man, and whatever, man. We're proud of him. You know, we're proud of him because we know who he really is. We know his mind, and he's not one of those, right? But here's my thing with it. The first thing, if someone's like, man, he's in politics or he's doing something, first thing people say, oh, he's a sellout. How about this fucking against us? He's faking the fun. That's not necessarily what it is, you know. That's the mentality we have to get over, is immediately judging our people and saying, hey, bro, he just went to the other side, man. He's a sellout. Nah, not necessarily. That guy could have the right agenda and be trying to do the most for the people, but then you turn him sour. And then he's critiqued on every little thing he does. And I think every different ethnicity does that to their people. They want nothing's going to be perfect, you know.
Never,
but you got Yeah, never.
No.
You know, as humans, we're not made perfect.
Yeah. There will never be any situation where everyone is happy. It's not going to happen.
You know what, Michael Lopez? I'm gonna disagree a little bit, but then you're kind of right in a certain way. You know, it seems like as brown people, we hold each other down a lot. A lot of it's envy and jealousy. You know, that's like I worked at a job, man, and there was 3 paisas. I guess you can call them paisas. One of them was documented, the other 2 weren't, but they were still hard ass workers. Good. They were all foremans at the job. Night shift, graveyard shift, or swing shift, day shift. They had it sewed up. When I came into the company, I came in with a special, bringing something special to the company only I could do, right? And so I had a little bit more pull with the owner, a white guy. You know, he looked out for me, small shop, and they couldn't stand me. They couldn't stand me because, first of all, my Spanish wasn't up to par. They couldn't stand me because how the fuck does this guy just come in and get this love? And instead of working together and helping each other, eventually one of them did, and we became real good friends, right? Because I showed him what I could do, and he showed me something. He taught me a lot. But the other 2 guys could not stand me, man. And I was like, damn, you're my own people. Why are you doing me like this? But to them, I was not their own people. So I was like, man, everyone showed me love. Black, white, Asians, but my own people are hating on me. You know, that's how it felt. But these weren't my own people. What these were some men that were just jealous.
That's But so let's read it again. So Michael says, no, Mexicans hate on each other. That's the truth. I've had more people from other races give me opportunities than my own raza. Sad but true. And you know what, Michael? You can, I think we all know this to be true. Most of us, not all of us, but a lot of us treat perfect strangers better than we treat some people in our own fucking family.
Facts.
So don't just keep it along racial lines, big dog. There are people that will treat their old lady like shit and then tell a perfect stranger, good morning. How you doing? And treat them kind. Treat a stranger kind, but be an asshole to their old lady or be an asshole to their kids or have a beef with one of their own primos over absolutely nothing. But you'll treat a perfect stranger with the utmost respect.
It's crazy.
So let's not just keep it along racial lines.
And this is a fact, man. Me and Dubs have an acquaintance that we know, and I'm just going to say this. That we looked out for when we could. We didn't have much, but we did what we could. And then immediately he chose like perfect strangers at some points that he had just met over a cold bowl of soup. Yes. And treated them better than the homies that were looking out for him when he was down and out. I couldn't believe it. Yes. I was like, damn, bro. But I never said nothing. And in fact, I'm still cool with him to this day, but I know what time it is. And I was just like, but that's a perfect example of what Dub says. People closest to you would treat perfect strangers like their fucking family or like it's all love. And the people that fucking looked out, you got nothing coming. It was crazy. But it's just how people are, man. You know, I guess and that's not along racial lines. That's everybody. You know, I've seen people of every group do that. Common sense, you guys are rocking it. Thank you, Diana. Again, man, we're just speaking on things that are relevant, and we're trying to bring some different points and perspectives to conversations. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, my people, this is the way to help my people. I'm going to say the only way to help each other is to educate each other and to be aware. You know, not a conspiracy theorist like, oh, there's an agenda. If you know, you know. What are you going to do about it? That's my thing. Yup. Relativity, it's either them, Gun, and Dub said a few times already that they are aware the video is not new. Yeah, no, definitely. That's the whole point of this live. We know that video is not new. We wanted to bring awareness to it isn't new. You know, it's a tool that's being utilized right now. Or it's just someone was smart enough to find that clip and go viral. That's it. You know, it's like 10 years from now, if Kendrick Lamar or something happens with him, all of a sudden they're going to be showing the fucking Super Bowl videos. You know,
All right. Good night, Doc.
Hey, all right, Doc. You have a good one. Good night. Katt Wlliams was right in his actions. It's a debate whether he was right or wrong, man. I think it was taken out of context. I think it was him going at a heckler. The guy's the one that said, "This is Mexico," and then Katt said what he said.
Yeah,
you know, he chose to say what he wanted to say.
I heard about that, Ezekiel.
Did you hear that a stabbing happened in one of these protests? Oh, there's been a lot of incidents that have happened. I know about 3 or 4 incidents in San Jose that happened. One thing I did hear, Dubs, the other day is that there's some leaked documentation, I guess, that went out that the certain people in the Trump administration are blaming on the FBI, right? Saying that they leaked some documentation saying that there's going to be some very big ICE raids in LA and other big cities in California. I don't know if it's true or not, you know.
I would believe it. I would believe it. But once, I mean, you have a lot of people there in the FBI and a lot of people in the government that Donald Trump has put on notice, like, hey, you haven't been doing your job. You're gonna have to leave soon, you know. So they're gonna do anything they can to make this last longer than it needs to. But you know, once the dust settles, man, everything's gonna be all right.
And we actually talked to this morning a homeboy in Mexico who was deported way before any of this stuff happened. He was deported, and I know him and Dubs are working on something together to quite possibly give him an interview or get him on a live or something. But when it comes to being deported, someone who was actually there and knows the ins and outs, this guy is very educated. So we were just talking this morning, man. Hopefully we can get him on pretty soon, man, especially on Dubs' channel. He can interview him and shed some light on how it is to be deported and what you go through and how the atmosphere is now, because he is in Mexico, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different thing, man. I believe that our own people don't actually hate. They just feel frustrated when Raza don't speak the language. Some do feel frustrated, but then some Chicanos feel frustrated when they can't speak English. So it goes both ways, you know.
And that's like, look, that's another sad thing too, because our people, our ancestors have been on this in the Americas for tens of thousands of years, and Spanish has only been spoken over here in the Americas for a little bit over 500 years. And people want to base who's Mexican, more Mexican, off of a language that is a white language. It's a European language. It is absolutely no different than English.
Yes, it is a European language from Spain. It's a Spaniard language. Spain is in Europe. That's what I'm saying. It's, hey, you're not the raza if you don't speak Spanish. Bro, that's a European language.
Fucking East Side.
Oh, man. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell. Thank you, Shadow. We appreciate it. We got over 700 in the building. We appreciate you guys. And I feel that, you know, instead of judging each other and being mad at how you talk or what you don't say or what language you can and can't speak, man, go out there and educate yourself and learn a bunch of different languages, because that's what's going to help you in the workforce and in this world that we live in, man. Now it's time to really educate yourselves rather than
that's absolutely right. Absolutely true, Vix. You have to have an open mind. I said that earlier. Anybody that goes into a debate with their mind already made up shouldn't even show up. Nobody's gonna get anything out of it. It's just gonna get ugly.
Yeah. What's the difference between Chicano and Mexican? Well, a Mexican is someone who was born in Mexico. A Chicano is of Mexican American descent. The dust. Once I settle, everything will be okay. Thank you, man. Use chat. Anyways, man, we started it off with talking about this. Let me know by a number one, man, if you want to get into some music and kind of chill the
okay mode. Here's what I'm saying here.
Yeah,
if we're gonna play music, we end this live and we restart.
I agree. I think this was a great live.
Yeah,
very informational. In fact, we're gonna go another 10 minutes on this live, man. Let's get an hour up out of it, and we'll answer some questions, and then we'll restart a live, man, and get into our music like we do, man. And we appreciate everyone. If you're new in here, and I know there's a lot of you, hit that like and subscribe, man. Go trip out on the Dub S channel and Dub S World, where if you want some of them current events, man, you can get it on the Dub S World. Some of that prison talk, a little bit of everything, comedy. You're definitely going to get that on the Dubs and Dub S World. Gunners Collective TV, Collective Clips, man. We appreciate the support.
Mr. West, great comment. He says you can speak a language, but can you effectively communicate? Great point.
Great point. Yeah, it's not all about the language. Most of the time, it's about how you carry on that conversation, if there's some substance to it. Steve the Gypsy, what's happening with you, man? You're a new name. Michael O'Brien, back to the Game of Thrones for me. Take care, chat, and God bless. Thank you. What's up, M Star Media? Jason Jubril, which is appropriate. Let me see. Language is a small barrier. You know what? And this is what I can say about that. I had a celly that was from La Baja, Mexicano. Probably one of the best cellies I ever had. We could not communicate, but we just knew. He was a good dude. I was a good dude. We were in there doing time together. It didn't matter what language we spoke. Guess what? We were in the same bullshit together.
And I can tell you, there's been a lot of people go on vacation to a foreign land, and there was no communication, but they got them a torta, no problem. Huh? How about that one?
I did when I was in Juarez. You know what I mean? It's and you know, and a lot of people. It's crazy that a lot of the Chicanos or Mexicans that are here, right, in the United States, second generation, third generation, that don't know Spanish, get looked at differently. When trip out on this, right? Where was I going with it? I looked at my geek bar and I wanted to do a fucking. And it was. Oh no. Anyways, that get looked at a certain way when we were told in schools, when we were put in schools, and a lot of us that had parents that didn't speak English, like to learn English so we could help our parents, you know. And that's just the way it is. You know, I had a Theo. Thank you, Rodney. My uncle Dubs spoke English, was raised until he was 5 years old. Then he went to Mexico with my grandfather, and he raised him until he was like 14, 15. He forgot how to speak English. And now my uncle been in the United States back for the last 30, 40 years with his wife and doing his thing. And now he stutters. He stutters real bad because he had to relearn English. And English is actually the hardest language to learn. And now he stutters.
English is not the hardest. Mandarin is.
Yeah.
English is hard, is one of the hardest ones to because there's words that sound similar and mean different things. But they say Mandarin is the hardest.
Well, I got to start trying to learn Mandarin.
And if Pablo Escobar, I think you got the word confused. Maybe sex has no language, but maybe love too. Love too. But love is its own language.
Says, forgive me for not knowing, Dubs. Before Spanish, what was the language spoke here?
There were a bunch of different languages spoken. Indigenous languages,
different dialects too.
And that's the thing. And we're not going to get into that whole topic. But when the Spaniards conquered, you know, it wasn't colonialism. It was devastating conquering. Our ancestors are the only people where the religion was stopped. The way of the culture was stopped. Their languages, like if they spoke their native languages, they could be killed. If you practice your religion, you could be killed. Everywhere else in the history of this planet, when somebody was conquered, they could still practice their religion and speak their language. And so all over the Americas, there were a lot of different indigenous languages. Spanish is brand new here. It's the conquest. Cortez landed in 1519. 1521, the conquest of Tenochtitlan was done. And so, but we start at 1519 is when Spanish started being spoken here in the Americas. I almost said it like Bush, here in the Americas.
Here in the Americas, man.
That is a lie. Mato Music 805 says Aztecs were eating children as a delicacy. That's an absolute lie. You need to do your homework. And let me tell you why. During the conquest, when Cortez was able to convince hundreds of thousands of indigenous people to go against what was left of the Triple Alliance, they had already backed into Tlatelolco. They were in Tenochtitlan and Tlatelolco, and they had to back into Tlatelolco. It was an island. They had it surrounded. Nothing goes in, nothing goes out. The streets were full of dead bodies, dead soldiers, dead warriors. And what did the Mexica do? They were stacking the bodies in homes. They weren't fucking eating them. So don't come in here with that, because that's something that I studied for years, and that's propaganda to make our ancestors look bad. They talk about our ancestors did sacrificing. Meanwhile, the Romans were throwing human beings at lions. They were throwing them to the lions and making them fight fucking tigers. It's the same fucking difference.
Exactly. All right, gente, we're going to get up out of here, man. We appreciate all the support for the night. For those of you, man, the hardcore people that support us every night, we are going to go live right now again, bump some music, take it easy. So Thank you for everyone that was in here tonight, man. We hope you appreciate it. And if you didn't catch the whole live, go back, man, because there was a lot of education here and a lot of realness spoken. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. You got anything to say, Dubs?
We'll see you in a minute.
We're going to be back.
Come on back.